Miller. Hi, Pete. We got Chris Meyer. We got the one and the only enslaved by no media. We got Doodle Noodle. And of course, Awake Souls. How's everybody doing?
Well, I don't know if anybody was paying attention last week. I started off saying I was so tired. I was surprised that we ended up doing a hangout, but I'm super happy we did. And today is way, way, way worse than last Wednesday. I mean, you, of course, know, brother, we've been working our butt off. We had a deadline on a project, and the deadline was the 21st, today. And we worked in 40-degree rain all day long today.
Yeah, it was definitely cold. It's like November rain for 2.5 months. But I'll tell you one thing, Jay. I'll give up minus 40, 5 feet of snow, shoveling and chopping wood for the November rain any day.
What a day! What a day! My body hurts so like unanimously throughout the whole thing that I actually went into sort of a euphoric state. Like, everything was hurting so much that I was, with the spiritual techniques that we've talked about that, I'll implement, I was just trying to absorb it, just pay attention to it as a sensation. And it was just everywhere. And all of a sudden I went into sort of a euphoric, like, whoa, all of a sudden it didn't feel like pain anymore. It was uplifting, but at the same time, it's just really weird knowing that I've worked the body super hard. It should be hurting. Yet there's this weird,
Yeah, it's funny. Sonny says it's been the coldest winter in 25 years. This is the first year in 38 years of my life that I've ever cut grass in February. So, I guess 2 days ago it was about 80 degrees, and I got to cut grass in February. So I'm really sorry about you, Sonny. And Jason and I and Team Yahawashai are promoting that we move to the tropics. We're starting a community, and we don't think anybody should be living in the snow. I think that the powers that be have really fooled people, and they just want to get you away from the creator and put you in a miserable position so you can work for them and die young, right?
Yeah, I'm curious how many of us, if we were just to pick our ideal situation, how many of us would choose to live in a place where we gotta chip ice off of our windshields and put snow tires on for the winter and all that kind of fun stuff?
Yeah, we'll see if we get anybody in the chat that actually enjoys, cleaning their car off and scraping the ice. I do know a secret. You can use like sort of warm water, depending on how cold it is. You can't use hot water because it will crack your windshield. But yeah, one sec. Sorry, I've got to make an adjustment here.
Okay. So what I'd like to go through tonight is our circle of sight. And this is a video that I've wanted to make for a super long time. I've attempted it through SketchUp, but it's 2-dimensional in SketchUp. Well, sort of 3-dimensional. I was looking for different ways in order to model this up. And I knew that SketchUp, what I know how to use of SketchUp, wasn't going to give the type of really awesome 3D curving type effect look to it. That what I'm looking for is how to model up our circle of sight. And so I wanted to learn Blender, and I learned it to the point of being able to wrap a flat map onto a 3-dimensional sphere. But that really is as far as I was able to take it with Blender. I know if I was able to devote more time to it, I'd be able to get better at it. So this whole circle of sight video, I've always wanted to have just this awesome 3D modeling in order to show people what I see. So I was able to look at timeanddate.com, and when I started making the definitive proof videos, where I knew that the AE map and model circling sun thing wasn't correct. And so I was looking at time and date data over and over and over. And the way time and date has it, they have it like spreadsheets, just rows and rows and rows of data. And for me, it was no problem. When I look at that data, when I look at the sunrise angle, the sunset angle, and the solar noon declination angle, when I see those three numbers, I can picture in my mind exactly what that arc looks like. And it's just no problem for me whatsoever to see that arc. So I would look at data for the northern hemisphere, I'd look for the tropics, and then I'd look at the southern hemisphere, and I could see the shapes of those arcs. And I knew that because of the shapes of those arcs, that the sun and moon cannot be doing circles over the AE map and model. And so this is we're finally in a situation where I can show people what that looks like in our circle of sight, because I found a website that is just incredible as far as the way it shows our circle of sight, exactly where the sun rises, where it sets, that angle, all that. And it's so amazing. We can just drag the cursor around a map of the world and see what it looks like at the different latitudes and different longitudes. And what I want to do is make a video, something in the neighborhood of a 15 to 20 minute video. I want to put some effort into the editing. I want it to be a high quality video with a 3D modeling that we're going to take a look at tonight. But what I really want is the input of the audience, the chat. And I want them to ask questions, raise concerns. I want them to bring up the things that strike them, because I want to address it in the video. And I want this to be the most comprehensive, easy to understand, answers all the major questions for everybody type video. And you had mentioned that you would like to add how this relates to Enoch and the gates and all that we know from that, and put this into the video as well, all through modeling and video editing, just using all the tools that we can to visualize this for people, so that when they watch this video, they can relate it to what they see in their circle of sight and understand how to document it, verify it, and make 100% sure that what we're saying is absolutely true. And then if it is, share this information with other people. So before we get into that, you had mentioned how you've been contemplating things, and I'd love to have you just take the floor and let us know what's on your mind, because this information is just here for us to go through and get people's input. And then I want to use this in the video that we're talking about making.
You're talking about the circle of sight.
Yep.
Okay, so basically, for me, it was we have the macro. I was pulling up the map. Actually, do you have the Dropbox around by any chance? The link. We'll throw it in the chat. So basically, we have we have we believe that we live in a simulation, and we can go to evidence to prove that. We don't just make things up. So we have a macro. We have what we believe is what the sun and the moon and the stars are all doing throughout the map of Earth. But the problem is that it is on such a large scale. It's the whole entire Earth. Here, I'll share my screen here and show people that it's not really what we see in our immediate circle. right? So I'll just pause it here on a couple of spots, get the chat up in here so everyone can see this, say hi. I know we've been through this redundantly. This is, I guess, for some new people that might not have seen. Just get these corrected here. Okay, here we go. So here is the map.
Perception.
Oh, sorry. And here's how the sun and the stars all work over it. Get to a clip. So basically the layout works like this. That's the macro. What we need is basically, we want to zoom in. So this would be looking south from the north, right? Everybody can see that. And this is the path. So everywhere on Earth, on this map, when the sun rides along the red line or the moon, basically we can point our compasses due east and see the sun rise, and we can point our compasses due west and see the sun set. And it works for everywhere on Earth, and all the land masses work. But the problem we have here is when we try to explain to people, like with the popular flat Earth model with the circling sun, basically what happens is inside, when you zoom into this map, you're going to get a different 3-mile view to your horizon. That's the farthest I believe that we can see on the ground. And the sun rises and sets, right? And so does the moon. Even though there are some skeptics, we gotta feel it out with the chat whether or not everybody out there believes, because I believe I've seen the moon set and the moon rise at the horizon, but I've heard from people that they've never seen that. So that's still, we're trying to see if the moon just doesn't disappear, or if it doesn't just set like the sun. So basically what Jason's done, instead of having these 6 gates here, what we want to do, as you can see up here on the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 gates. And this is the tropics, and the sun goes back and forth like this. So basically what Jason has found, I don't know if you found it yet, but
I didn't find the Dropbox.
Oh yeah, but the even we can now go to your presentation. So this is the macro, right? This is the overall layout of the Earth. But now we'd like to show you guys the true reality. This here is supposedly stitched together from high altitude planes that are flying across the Earth and filming and taking pictures. And they've put this map together. But what Jason's going to show is absolutely, without a doubt, what we actually can physically see.
Yeah, and we can all verify this, each and every one of us. So let me do a screen share here.
It's all you. Hey, what's up, ROTR? It's really nice to see you too in the chat. Miss you, buddy. So nice to be here with everybody, even you, Jed. What's up, Jed? Jed Skeptic Media is coming. We got William Weiss chopping in. Oh, here it is, guys. Boom. Oh, and we did have a comment, Jason, before you start. Someone asked, well, what about the sunny ways? What about the sun and the moon figure 8 patterns? Well, that is called the analemma. Yes. And we'd like to show you how that works. So I'm going to hand it over to the host with the most, and I'll be quiet.
Well, this, yeah, absolutely. She asked about the figure 8s or the analemma, and we're gonna see all this in action. This is what I have wanted to model and be able to put into a video for over a year. You know, before I put out my first definitive proof video. And so let me go ahead and grab this right here. Copy. I'm dropping this link in the chat. And everybody, please check this out. It's quite a website. And so what we have up here is, let me see if I can put the annotate on so that you can see this a little better. Hopefully you can see this better. Up in the left-hand side here, we've got the map of the world. And we have this pin that we can just drag anywhere. All right, so we can go all around the world, northern, southern hemisphere, and we can scale this. So we can zoom in here. If I want to put this over on Toronto, where Ronnie grew up, or I grew up over here, Ripon, Wisconsin, about the same latitude north. Let's go ahead and start with the north. And it seems to be where a lot of us that are paying attention to this information right now are located. And over here on this side, we can tilt, pan, rotate this city right here all over the place. Now it's got, if you guys can see here, it's got the cardinal directions on it. So here we have north, here we have east, here we have our west, here we have our south. So what most of us do when we live in the north is we orient ourselves like this. Where here's north, here's south, so we're looking south. We know east is over here. We know the sun's going to rise. We know it's going to set over here. So like where I grew up and where Ronnie grew up, let's get this going here. We can adjust the day of the year, and we can adjust the time of the day right here just with sliders. And so as I adjust the day of the year, watch this. Let me get this right. I'll go with 12. All right. So you see now the sun is on this path right here. And oh shoot. And now as I adjust the date, you'll see it follow that path. That is the figure 8. That is the analemma. And so here at the June solstice, like June 21st right here, this is a path. This is the highest path of the sun from a northern latitude. And if we give this a look here, we can see that the sun rises way north of east, sets way north of west. And, you know, because of it being a higher latitude, the sun is, you know, at this declination. But this is the highest declination. This is the longest day of the year in the northern hemisphere. Now, if you pay attention to this, we're on a compass. Look at this from above. On a compass, the sun is rising. Watch. See that right there? The sun is rising. This is the degrees on a compass. And this is all in our circle of sight. So if you're a person standing here, down here at the base of this red building here, our circle of sight is like a 3-mile radius if we're standing on relatively level ground. That's our circle of sight. So when the sun rises, it rises at this degree on a compass to you in a 3-mile circle of sight. And then it will follow a path like this around you. Okay, so let's pay attention to the shadows. And you know, everybody tell me if you see any flaws in this. Let me get this back to solstice. I want the time. All right, so here's your sunrise. It's coming up over you. We can zoom down into this model. Tell me, is this what you see, people of the Northern Hemisphere? If you're down in a city like this, and
That's definitely what I grew up watching. So as see where that tall, funny shaped building is. So the
Yeah.
CN Tower would be there. I built many buildings in this actual area here. It might have been a little larger than a 3 mile area, but I know the depiction is. So the sun would come up, and right behind the building to the south would be Lake Ontario, right?
Hmm.
And so I would always know what time of year I could watch the sun rise, on the one side of the lake as opposed to the other side, because obviously in the wintertime the sun rises much, much more south. So basically what I'm looking at here is a northerly summertime rise. I don't know the date. Could you tell me the date on this graph?
This would be the summer solstice.
Oh, perfect. See, that is exactly what I see in the summer in my hometown of Toronto.
Yeah. So then as the day progresses here, you can watch the shadows. See, this is the thing that you can do at home, everybody. You can just stick a stick in the ground and you can watch the path of the shadows. And this has all been modeled. This is the true modeling of our circle of sight as far as what we see of the path. This is for the sun. Of course,
This
we
is
could do this.
it's
We
a
could do this
perfect.
with.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's a perfect flat observational uh, simulation. It's absolutely flawless. It is exactly what we see and experience without any curve, without any portals. This is just what it is.
Now, so here's the interesting thing. We've shown let me show our map again. And so this is a map or a coordinate system. And right now we're looking at Toronto right here. We're going to go over to Ripon, Wisconsin, where I grew up. And we're going to see that they're the same latitude, but a different longitude. And the difference is going to be is the time of day that all this occurs. So what we're not talking about is a physical sun traveling between the tropics. It's not a gaseous ball that is hovering over, the equator or over the Tropic of Cancer or Capricorn, and the in-betweens. All of this motion, all of this action is happening within our 3 mile circle of sight, or larger if we're higher in elevation. But if we go back to this, now as I take this pin over here and drag it across, look at what's happening. All that's happened is it's just changed the time of day.
We can't see it. It's still on our map.
Oh, okay. Might be a little bit behind. Let
Well,
me
sorry. I should say the Earth's map. I should. There we go. That's better. Thank you. I got it now.
Okay. Let me give it a chance to just get caught up and talk about this a little bit more. What we're talking about is just going from Toronto to Ripon, which is pretty much the same latitude, just a different longitude. And just watch as I move the pin back and forth here. All that's happening is, this program actually showed the jump when you move across a time zone.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty cool. This is well featured here, everybody.
Yeah, this is flat Earth gold. Like this is this is the flat Earth truth. It's undebunkable what you're seeing here.
Okay, so this is just all warm up. This is just getting people comfortable with what they're seeing, because we're gonna start playing with latitudes in just a little bit. You're gonna see something amazing. But watch as I move this slider for the date. How we get here to the winter solstice, December 21st, its lowest point. look at that path right there. This is our circle of sight. Now I'm going to take north. Let's get our orientation here, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to start sliding down south. And as I do this, watch what happens to the, it would be the declination. So I'm going to bring this down now. Here's like 30 degrees. This is where we're at in Austin. Bring this to summer solstice. 21st. So now all that's different is that the sun comes up higher in the sky for us at a lower latitude. We don't have as much of a hook around type effect as when you're up north like this. See, it hooks quite a bit more around you in the north. Now it's going more overhead. And now as we get down to the equator, it gets really interesting. This is something I really want to experience. But now we're down on the equator, and watch what happens as we change the date here. So here's the big day, the equinox, where you can see that it's rising due east, setting due west, and it's directly overhead. But look at how the sun rises and sets at the equator throughout the whole year. That's that path back and forth, and then it's just, you know, from the east to the west, and this is within a person's circle of sight. Now here's the big buster for the AE map and model. Now as we head south, watch what's happening here. Okay. Remember, this is north over here, everybody. So now we're in the southern hemisphere. Here's north up here. Now as we continue to go down towards like our, what is that favorite place in Argentina?
The bottom one?
Yeah, Ushuaia, right?
Ushuaia, yeah.
Ushuaia.
You got it. You know, I did want to make a comment though on this.
Okay.
So in my studies, I found that when educating children in science, to get them indoctrinated, they would have them go outside and they would focus always by looking to their left and seeing the sun rise. The fact that the sun rises from the right to left, and in the north, it's still rising from your left to your right, absolutely demolishes the fact that you live on a spinning globe and pretty much on a circling AE map. The only way that this actually could work is that the sun is self-centric and you are in a simulation that was created by the creator of the Bible, in my opinion. But the facts do lead me to believe that the fact that I can see the sun rising on my arc around me way up north in Canada, and then someone down here sees the sun rising above them, only leads to the fact that there are basically as many eyes as there are suns.
Mm-hmm. All right. So just everybody get your orientation here. We've got the north up here, south here, we're down in the southern hemisphere. Now watch what happens. This is where the sun rises right here. All right. Here comes the sunrise. This is way south of east. Watch it come up, hook around, come setting way out south of west.
Basically circling around and below them.
Yeah. Well, and here's something to keep in mind. The globe and the AE model both demand like a circling sun above the horizon, right?
That's correct.
So the model here, if I keep dragging this, watch what's going to happen. It's going to come around. You see what it's doing here?
That's false.
All right. See how it's got. So now you would have down here at this point, you would have the sun circling around in the sky, totally above for, look at the date here. Watch this. Okay. So from March 28th, like end of March, all the way through January 1st, and then let's see on the back side of that, it would be September 13th. Okay, so
it's impossible.
The whole time the sun would have never set. Never ever set. See, that's the thing.
In Antarctica. We got to be specific here. Ladies and gentlemen, Antarctica on the Flat Earth AE map is 65,000 miles around. You need to understand that that's impossible in the model.
Okay, so watch this. Now we're starting down in Ushuaia. We're going to work our way back up. Right now, up here, this is north, south's over here. And watch that circle of sight. As I come up like this, it's going more and more overhead. Now we're up at the equator. It's totally overhead. We'll get this to, let's do equinox.
Sorry about that.
No problem. And all right, so equator, equinox, we'll get this right at noon. Everything is zeroed out. It's directly overhead in every which way, right?
That's correct.
Now, as we move, farther north here, see that everywhere on Earth, the sunrise is 90 degrees east, 270 degrees west. Those angles are the same no matter what latitude, longitude, it's all that. But what's happening is the angle of declination based on your latitude is changing. This, for whatever latitude you are north, it mirrors itself to the south. Back and forth. That right there makes it impossible for the sun and moon to be doing circles.
Yeah, that's globular, elliptical, or parallel, right hooking. Ladies and gentlemen, the sun is circling two totally different directions. One in the north, it's circling to the north, and in the south, the sun is circling completely the other direction. This is something that science has never, ever broached. Is that the correct word? I don't know.
Broached, yeah.
Like, so wow.
This is the path of the sun, and the moon is a little bit more complicated path, but it's all in our circle of sight right there. And the stars. The stars, look, let's go back up to the equator. This is probably the easiest one to understand for everyone. Go up to the equator, line it up like this. We've got north to our left, south to our right. And if I adjust the time of day here, just imagine this is, nighttime, and these are the stars coming up. On the equator, they rise from the east. The whole path, all the constellations. Like if we look at where these analemmas are right here, and we think of those as being spots on our night sky where we would see constellations, they rotate above us in our circle of sight like this and come down and set like this. Now, since most of us are in the north, let's look at this, thinking about the stars. We'll go up here to, let's say, Chicago. So once again, think of each one of these analemmas on here. Get in here and get as good of a look at this as we can, everyone.
Yeah, the red line is the ecliptic path, right?
Yeah.
So the constellations flow across the sky in the same direction.
Yep. So this, and if this was the stars coming up, you would see all of your constellations circle around you, just like this, in your 3-mile circle of sight.
And to your north position, you would see the stars rotate counterclockwise in the north, and the stars that are below here on the very bottom of your screen, you would see the stars traveling in a straight path depending on your declination. And when you passed 18 degrees south, you would then start to see the stars rotate in the opposite direction, which is clockwise in the south. This is exactly, without a doubt, this is exactly what we see.
It is. So this summer, be it, if there's somebody out there that we know that we can trust, can get into the Arctic Circle and just film the sunset, one time.
Well, Bob and Jen, right? They said they were going to go to Greenland, right? I heard it. Come on.
There's only one other person I've ever heard other than Bob, who I think is, doubled down on it, that there is this circling sun. We have not seen any evidence, no real
anywhere
footage
on Earth.
It's all been CGI. So this summer, we either have to go and document it ourselves, or we need somebody trustable, reliable. All we need is to just see the sun set once during this time period where it's supposed to never, ever go below the horizon.
Yeah, 50 something days. It's supposed to stay up all day.
And that destroys the globe Earth model. Right?
Yeah.
That's all we need in order to destroy the globe Earth model.
Yeah.
That's it. So we need that. We need that this summer. And let's see, the AE circling map sun model, that Freemason model. It demands it, except that just the north.
Just
right?
the north, yep.
Not the south.
Not the south. As everybody here knows, everyone's heard. See, I'd like you, could you drill in a little bit? Well, actually, no. If you count the lines from the arc, from the top of the arc to the bottom, I guess you could say your tropical section there.
Yeah.
I believe there's 6 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Those are the 6 gates that Enoch speaks of. That's exactly the way that it works. And the analemma is, without a doubt, as Enoch states, the moon and the sun, they turn upon their path and they rise back to where they had started the race. So you can see that exactly Enoch was shown the circle of sight. This is what he wrote about. We have a document, right?
Isn't that funny how they have these dotted lines are the gates, aren't they?
Yes. They have the 6 gates. They know. It's not people, this isn't we're not making any of this up. That's the other thing too. I remember I used to get a lot on my map videos like, you guys can't just draw your own map or whatever. We're like, you know, they actually did high altitude plane flights and filmed it all, right?
Mm-hmm.
And put it together.
So this is all verifiable, everybody. We can pound a stick in the ground, and as long as the sun comes out, we can trace these shadows. We can double check to make this is all true. But other than the circling sun in the northern and southern tropics, I mean poles, north and south poles, this is the type of software that you use when you're planning you know, a big building, something in a downtown area where you're going to be concerned about where all the shadows hit, you know, as far as your heating, your cooling, what it's going to look like out of each and every one of these videos. This is Windows. This is the ability to model things is absolutely amazing. We can match what we see in reality and sit back and study it. For anybody that always wondered what the analemma is, well, here it is. This is the analemma. Just watch it follow that path. If you were to take a snapshot once a month, there it is. But look at everyone, how this is modeled to our circle of sight. Okay. Once again, if you get, because most of us are in the north. Let me get this lined up to here on the longest day of the year. If you look at where the sun rises to the north of east, and the way it hooks around like this and heads back out like this. All right, so every place you go, so if we're back here in the middle of the day a little bit more. Now as I drag this, so I'm in Chicago, but I'm dragging this over here. The only thing that's changing is the time of day that this whole thing is taking place at that latitude. The entire latitude is the same. The thing that changes the time of day that it happens at. This is such a hook shot right here where if you're at your house and then you drive 10 miles like west of you, you're going to see the sunrise, you know, from north of east, this huge hook shot come around. Talk to one of your family members that's another 10 miles down the road. Everybody sees this huge hook shot. Just, it's not possible. It's not possible. If you look at this, you'll understand that the way our sky is designed by the Creator is to give the appearance of us being on a sphere. It gives that appearance. But we are on a flat plane. We're in a simulation. It's built on a flat plane. It's just like this model right here. Right? There's no curvature. Inside our circle of sight, we have elevation, but the whole thing is built on a flat plane, just like this. Each and every one of us have a circle like this. And so for like Enslaved by Media, he's probably going to understand this the best, but like if you imagine an airplane flying along the plane, and we have our circle of sight, we can only see a certain distance. So what happens, the plane never comes in down at the horizon. It always comes in through what, some people have coined like a sky wall. So that's like when the plane penetrates through this 3-mile circle of sight dome around us right here. It sort of penetrates that wall. And then it appears that the way things render to us within this circle of sight are different than when they go beyond this. So the way I sort of envision it or imagine it is that if you were to see this as being like a screen, that the plane would be coming in, it's not visible. All of a sudden it's like super pixelated out, and then it penetrates the skywall area, and then as it's flying across here, it's all like it's high resolution. This is complicated stuff right here. I don't know why I'm going off the path so much, but I'm just trying to get people to see that their circle of sight is just out here at 3 miles around them. The whole path of the sun is right here. Whole path of the moon right around you. So that just means that as you move around, let's say you're on a plane, it's just adjusting the whole time, its orientation to you. And if you're traveling east or west, all that's going to happen is it's just going to set at a different time for you. If you're going north or south, it's going to be changing its orientation to you. In this way, you step out of the land in Mexico City, and if you're flying from Chicago, look at how much more over the head it's going to be than you. But the Bible is correct. The sun rises and sets. So
yeah, I could go ahead.
So it's going to come up here, boom, 3 miles away from you, over your head like this, and set here. And just one more thing I want to say, so many people say, well, no, high altitude footage or whatever. If we're saying the sun's 3 miles high, well, the high altitude footage goes way higher than that, and the sun is still above that, which I just have to say that it's always being rendered to the observer. So in the case of that, the observer is the camera, and so the path of the sun would be a path over the observer, just like here. So what were you gonna say?
No, you're doing a great job. I was just going to bring some Enoch in, but I can wait.
No, go for it. If people have questions, we can come back to this, but go ahead and...
Well, you can leave the depiction on.
Okay.
And so in the book of Enoch, I believe it's chapter 37, and it says, as he rises, so he sets, and decreases not, and rests not, but runs day and night. And his light is sevenfold brighter than that of the moon. But as regards size, they are both equal. That's one. And then the book of Enoch 72 verse 1, the book of the revolutions of the lights of heaven, when we scroll down, it said, and this is the first law that the holy angel Uriel showed unto Enoch, and he said, the light called the sun, its rising is in the gates of heaven that are towards the east, and its setting is in the western gates of the heaven. And I saw 6 gates from which the sun rises and 6 gates in which the sun sets. And the moon also rises and sets in those gates. And the leaders of the stars together with those whom they lead. There are 6 in the east and 6 in the west, all exactly in place, one next to the other. And there are many windows to the south and the north of those gates. And this is exactly at the first there rises the greater light named the sun, and its disk is like the disk unto heaven, and the whole of it is full of fire, which gives light and warmth. And it says also that the wind blows the chariots on which it ascends, and the sun goes down in the sky and returns through the north in order to reach the east. And it is led so that it comes to the appropriate gate and shines in the sky. It's exactly what we see on this diagram.
It really is, isn't it?
There's no the fire thing, I've never been able to notice. When we watched the eclipse happen, it looked like there was some sort of a jet stream that was blasting down and up around the sun, right? When the eclipse happened. That's the only time I've ever noticed anything about the light of the sun. But Enoch says it right there, right? As he rises, so he sets, and decreases not, and rests not, but runs day and night. And his light is 7-fold brighter than that of the moon. But as regards size, they are both equal. These are actual. This could be written maybe 2,000 years before Christ. Right? This is 2,000 years before Yahushua. Like people, if you 7th from Adam. Enoch was. This was like the very beginning of the Adamic era. This was the very beginning of us, right? How could and this stood in the face of science for the entire duration that we have existed on this plane. Enoch and exactly what we see in that depiction right there has stood in the face of science, been mocked, been scoffed, been put down, and all of a sudden we can find the scripture. Jason found. See, it's great because when I was doing shows with Lori Frary, I was teaching this, but I didn't have this model. It's amazing that you found it. It just absolutely blows my mind because it's so simple. Like, great job, brother. I'm still thankful that you found that.
Yeah, it's just like 2 sliders and you can just click and drag the.
So if I was a little better with Blender, I could take this and then embed it onto our map. So when you clicked on certain areas of our map, this data would then come up. But, maybe we'll have some time. Maybe I'll put it together. Maybe I'll do it.
Look at this. It's built on a flat plane.
It looks like SketchUp, right? Looks like your modeling program, brother.
No, I don't.
Looks like SketchUp.
But take a look at. So this is the way you would build our world, brother.
Well, it matches what we see. It's incredible because it's so sophisticated. That's why when we talk about being in a simulation, it's like beyond our wildest thoughts that we could ever imagine anything as amazing and beautiful as this.
Let's see. Anything else you want to talk about?
Yeah, I had a bunch of topics that I wanted to hit real quick.
Okay.
I had some questions for you.
Well, just a second. I gotta blow my nose.
Okay, sure. Maybe I'll take the screen share for a sec. I'll show. Let me just go into something here. Oh, wrong thing. So yeah, how's everyone doing? I hope everyone enjoyed that explanation. I thought that was amazing. I really enjoyed. That's an amazing website that was developed with the data from timeanddate.com. It's phenomenal, except for the sun being up for 50 days there in the south in Antarctica. I'd love to go there and see, but the lines that flat earthers give everybody, right? Let me just share this for a second. Are you back now?
I'm back.
Yeah. So just to take this to drill in a little bit more. Um, just to drill in here, if this is okay with everybody. Flat Earth Clues, number 13, because Mark never put it out. Boldly go where fake flat earthers won't go. It's almost 2 years old, right? Seize the time. So there was the America's favorite pastor, or oldest standing pastor, passed away. Was it yesterday or today?
I think that was today.
Today. Was it Billy Graham?
Billy Graham.
So what do you think of him?
I don't know. I don't know his work well. Spiritual teacher that I had followed, had talked about Billy Graham, had sort of promoted him as being a super godlike guy. The one thing that I always hear associated with him is that he was like the spiritual advisor for many presidents. Mm-hmm. Over and over, I hear that he was a spiritual advisor for presidents.
Yeah, I heard that.
Makes me really leery, because all of our presidents were like Freemasons or homosexuals, married to
secret
trannies,
societies, Nazis or whatever, and like, yeah. Could you send me the link to that presentation site that you were just on? I didn't get it in the chat. So yeah, my last thought on that basically is, I think he was alive for 99 years, and he shared the gospel and the scriptures from Yahushua with, I heard a highest number is 2.2 billion. So I just give nothing but gratitude and thanks that Yahushua brought him up in America, because I'm sure his aura, if he truly was after the heart of Yahushua for 99 years, truly helped this country. And it's a sad thing for this country to lose someone that loves God that much. Mm-hmm. Did you send that to here?
I put it in the Hangout chat.
Okay, let me grab that. Because I just want to bring it up, because it really makes sense for me to have that beside what I'm showing here. Let me just see here. Nope, it didn't come up. You put it in on the live chat.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Thank you. Can you still see the screen? Sorry, everybody. Oh, page not found. You got it shut down?
Well, that was quick.
Come on, no. Don't tell me that. Is it the link not working? No. Maybe it won't let it paste in there. Do you have this chat? Well, I guess I can just go through it then. Basically, this could be either in the south, looking at Sigma Octantis, and you could have that. The analemma would be happening here. See where the straight line's going up? That's the ecliptic, and also the Earth's equator. Right, so this is the circle again. We're looking. This would be the upwards area in your sky. So stars viewed south of the equator would appear to rotate clockwise. So this is in the south, looking south from, let's say, New Zealand, where COFO 72 does this amazing work. Totally destroyed the fake flat Earth. Stars viewed along the equator do not rotate. They run in a straight line from east to west. I hope people can get that.
Yeah, we can go back to the equator again.
It was pretty straight, wasn't it?
Straight line, east to west.
You can verify that for me?
Yeah. This program's super easy.
So the lights in the sky travel from east to west, creating a circuit. The total length of the circuit can be measured as follows. Each light has its own path, displayed as running a course starting from any position on Earth, traversing 24.854 thousand miles across the sky, from any point measuring forward and reverse, east to west, west to east. The circuit approaches from the east and moves to the west. Observed from any point on Earth, we can see the dance of the wandering stars as they traverse the invisible path along which the sun appears to move. That was that area that we had the analemma, right? That was from the top of the tropics to the bottom in our 3-mile sky, right? And it's indicated by a yellow curve. So basically, there's a set of fixed stars. I'm sorry. There are a total of 7 non-fixed lights visible in the sky: the sun, the moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. And they all appear to move freely throughout the ecliptic path. Now, the constellations and the rest of the stars are what I'm calling fixed. They just do their thing. Polaris is fixed, and then the other stars are fixed in their constellation patterns as they move through the sky. This is just a super quick, I just wanted to add it. This is the way that it gets divided up with right ascension. And this is, again, this would be the equator, right, in the north. And this is the way that it works out to be like a sine wave. Basically, this again would be from the equator. Remember that straight path that Jason was showing, right? And this is what it would be. So I just hope everybody just can see again how really clear this is.
There.
Yeah, this is another image where this would be pointing north. This would be almost what Jason showed with his first diagram. The sun would have been traveling along this red path for me in Toronto. Mm-hmm. This is exactly what we showed, right?
Nope.
It's just more confirmation, just so people can see. Now we're in the south, right? And we're looking north, and the path is traveling this direction. So from your right hand to your left. Basically, this is the easiest diagram. This shows the highest tilt in the north. This shows the highest tilt in the south. This is your 3-mile horizon, the circle of sight. This is you as the observer. And this is everything right there. It's not rocket science. But then again, rocket science isn't really rocket science.
It's not.
So basically that's, as far as I wanted to get into that. I did have some other questions for you about air travel.
Mm-hmm.
What's going on with air travel? Planes are levitating. How about the conversation we had today about what do they have at airports? The super duper.
Oh, all their fire trucks, right?
Maybe you could pull up some fire trucks on your end of the screen, and we can laugh and have a talk about these. They often look brand new, right?
Excuse me.
There's not really too many fires on the planes, right? So because there's no fuel. Did I lose you?
I've got a tickle.
Yeah, that's probably that winter rain. It's catching up with you. If you want to cut it short, you can. I still have more questions as well.
Yeah, I might be good for tonight. But yeah, questions if you got a couple.
Do you think anyone should be focusing on false flags and hoaxes? And what do you think? What would you like to see the truthers in the community on Team Yahushua, coming up with research on?
Well, I don't know. There's just some big fundamentals that once you know that nukes are a hoax, once you know that space is a hoax, stuff like that. Yeah, surely you're going to know that 9/11 was a hoax. It's just hoax. And they're really bad, and they're using CGI on all of these. And I don't know, I just really hope that there's nobody that is taking any of the stuff that they see on the news seriously. It's scary to think that people would be buying into this, like Florida shooting. It's bad.
It's terrifying, right? It's terrifying when we see the false information being let out so that they can demonize the truth seekers by, look at how fake this is, it upsets me even more because, people, what do they want to do? Investigators want to say, look at this, like, this guy's he's an actor. And then now you're a mental lunatic because you pointed out the truth. So it's a scary situation.
Yeah. But it once you have been paying attention for a while, you see the patterns and you see that it's always done by hoaxes. They're big magic tricks. It's all David Copperfield. Satan is in control of this system and has the media. And so anything that you see on television or movies, anything that you get music wise, it's all been run through the filters of Satan. All the people that have been promoted. Being a celebrity just means that you're Satan's number one go-to,
Mm-hmm. Well, I completely agree with you, man. I'm thankful I have you around to help counsel when I slip. Dave asked, guys, I agree with you. 90% of this circle of sight, we need to address the area at the horizon up to 1 mile high. In this area, we can see much further than 3 miles, depending on elevation and depending on the object's elevation. So I'd like to answer this one real quick. Mm-hmm. So in my video, Flat Earth Perspective, basically anything that has a higher field of view, so like the CN Tower, will have a much larger field of view both ways. So the bottom of our circle of sight does seem to be larger due to perspective. There is actual mountains that maybe you can see from 40 miles away, but everything else in the circle of sight is happening local to you. And I definitely agree with David. How do you want to answer that, Jason?
Well, that's what I was trying to talk about. If we zoom in here a little bit and look at this and say that, like, let me put the sun down where you would see like mountains off in the horizon. So down here just above the horizon, let's say you've got some mountains off in the distance. They're not within your circle of sight. They're not in this 3 mile range. It appears that what may be happening is the way it's being projected to us is like on a screen right here, where the resolution is the resolution and the I don't know if I have the right word for this. I don't know. This is where I was hoping to get some input, feedback, so that going into the video, this better quality video I want to make about the circle of sight, address stuff like this, where I can come up with the words, come up with visuals to be able to show what I'm trying to say. So
that's perfect. You're doing a great job, and everybody in the chat is agreeing. It matches Enoch. It matches our observation. You perfectly explained it. I'd like to see the dialed in video too. Yeah, I guess there's a whole bunch more, but I think you can wait. Yeah, I think you did a great job explaining that. This is the best website I've ever seen. And getting it nailed down, getting our simulation realization proofs up again is something that I hope we can do.
Absolutely. So I guess Sunday we'll see everybody.
Yeah, Sunday at 2 p.m. Central. We'll do a Beyond Flat Earth on Awake Souls. We'll have we have some upcoming guests. Zen Garcia is going to be with us in 3 Sundays. Really looking forward to that. We're going to get into some pre-Adamic talk. So maybe there was civilizations or Adamic since the race of Adam. We're going to talk about that. We're going to try to tie together some of what Zen's been teaching with what we believe is the simulation. Instead of going where like quantum mechanics might take you with certain types of entangled talk and, things that we can't observe, I'd like to try to, bring into what Jason's been helping me learn. We'll hope to have Liz back on. And next Wednesday, we're going to continue with the Circle of Sight. Is there anything anybody else wants to ask in the chat before we close this down? Great point. Go ahead.
And then we're also, as soon as we can, we're going to be getting the parts that we need to build our HHO generator that produces our electricity, because we want to cut the cord from the electric company here as well.
Oh yeah, you said you were looking for anybody who has understanding in hydraulics.
Yeah, that would be helpful. Just got to figure out a few things as far as a PTO pump and the sizing for it. We want to get our drive engine to be the smallest possible so that we don't have to make tons of HHO. We can just make a little bit and
boost the PTO through hydraulics and power, whatever. And that's just your first concept, right? And we're also over Unity. I'd like to get you to build one of those sometime as well.
That'd be fun. I sort of want to see if I can implode one too.
Could we make a jetpack so I could like fly?
I think so.
Yes, that's what I'd be up for. But I definitely need a parachute and like a wing, something that you could fly in without the jetpack, right?
Well, the whole the drone quadcopter type thing.
That would be cool.
They're making them, but like right now they're having to use batteries and those are heavy and then they don't last long. So if we just set up the HHO generator in there, we should be able to fly forever.
Yeah, that's great. If it continues to make the power. Are we going to address the area near the horizon where we see? Yeah, we did, Dave. I addressed it. I agree. I've seen mountains from 40 miles away. So, because the mountains were so tall, I was able to see them because they have a larger field of view. In my perspective video, I explain how, things that are higher, you can see from a much larger distance, but they have to be touching the ground. You pointed that out. That's a great point that you pointed out, that objects on the ground can be seen from further than our 3 mile, but I don't believe that objects in the sky can be seen from any further away than 3 miles, right? There was a couple other points, Jason. Someone was asking, diameter of the sun and moon will always be the same any place on Earth, Jason?
Very similar, but it appears that we do get from like timeanddate.com and the Global Earth websites and stuff like that. They do give us these different distances, and then we do end up seeing things like supermoons, and they tell us that it's larger, right? So it does vary in size.
Apogee and perigee, that's right.
Yeah, I don't know if it's just the diameter is changing or the distance is changing.
Yeah,
but they are at they do change in size. We have supermoons and stuff like that. So
yeah,
I think what happens with the total solar eclipses where they make a big deal about them is that they are at the same distance where they're lining up on right on each other.
Yeah, it's really interesting, right? But the Book of Enoch seems to be right. The perigee and apogee, the closer and further they are during their peculiar path, is what causes them to look larger or smaller, like they say, but just not 250,000 miles away. It renders to you like the rainbow effect. So we all know that we can't get to a pot of gold at the end of a rainbow. The sun and the moon and the stars are the same thing. The closer you move to the sun, the further the sun is going to move relative to your rendering position in the simulation or in life, just in reality. I'm just seeing if there was any more questions. Yeah, it was a really good time tonight, Jason. I enjoyed our conversation super, super much.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm a little off. I'm like it was such a deadline to hit and a little spaced out. I'd like to be sharp for everybody, and I'd like to put out a good quality video, one that you're going to want to be able to share with all your friends and family as far as the circle of sight. It should be undebunkable. It should represent exactly what you see in reality, and it should describe everything that you need described. It should describe how you're on a flat plane and how you see the sun, moon, stars all operate within your latitude and longitude.
Totally. Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait to get back at it. Like I said, apologize to everybody that follows my channel that I haven't been working as hard lately on putting out videos, but I'm pumped. I'm fired up. We're coming back. We're coming back hard. We're gonna be throwing down some truth. This could be the end times, people. This could be the end any day. So we're gonna go out swinging.
You got a comment from Enslaved. He says the 3 mile circle doesn't work at the horizon. I see you're ignoring me. We're not ignoring you, Dave. Roddy has mentioned it twice now. Talking about how things that are farther away than 3 miles, when they're down at the ground, we can see further.
Depending on how high they are in the air.
Yeah.
It works off of the circle of sight. So the objects rendering on the ground, which I gave you credit for explaining, things that are touching the ground, the higher they are, the larger their field of view is. Right? The CN Tower has a high, large field of view. Remember the video I had with the pylons? You can see the 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 being the smallest field of view. The 3 mile circle of sight does not work except past your horizon line. So the 3 miles is your horizon line. Anything past that would have to be above the height for you to be able to see it, because it's beyond your horizon line. But you can see things like really high towers, like the CN Tower, or the mountains, or anything else that's super high. You can see it from much further away. Am I explaining it can I be any clearer?
No, it's good. I think we're all trying so hard to just be on the truth and get the truth and share the truth. And I think we're really close to the end, brother.
I do.
I think I think the end is close, and I want to be giving hugs and handshakes and celebrating on the other side. So I mean, this is all fun. This is all exciting we can see what our circle of sight is. It's true. Planes aren't running off of fossil fuel, and we are figuring out all these lies, and we're sharing them. And
the water level test.
Yeah,
we can go from one edge of the 3 mile circle to the other with a water level, just to prove to everybody that it's flat, right?
We'll do that too. So we might have to go into the Arctic to prove that the sun doesn't stay up for, was it 50 days or whatever? 50 days, yep. Never goes down.
That was funny. Got a notification just as you said that.
And we might have to hook up 3 miles of hose, world record, to show everybody that there is no curvature to Earth.
But I like the way we'll have to have Dave on, or we have to have Dave explain it better. I know his image where he shows the much larger area. I think that's a great graphic. Dave's graphic for showing the circle of sight. I do really like that. So maybe we can try and incorporate that in somehow. I don't want him to feel slighted, because he's done such great work too, right? Super huge shout out to everybody on Team Yahushua, especially enslaved by no media. I keep saying it, or not enslaved by media, never enslaved by media, right? I keep calling them without the not. But yeah, man, this was great. Everybody, don't worry about nuclear war because nukes are hoax. And don't follow the school shootings because it's just mind control. Pray for the end, right?
Don't watch television. Don't watch movies. Don't
send your PayPal to jeranism@yahoo.com.
We could just sit on our hands and just pray for the end of this world.
Did you hear? I heard Jaron said that he didn't want to give any results from his test.
Yeah, because he doesn't want to.
He said he didn't want to give anybody inconclusive data. So, but he apparently is going to try the test again with the same parameters. So, I'd still like to put our water level test up and get Guinness out there, but that's for another day and another time.
Yeah, we'll smash it out. I mean, we can have all those hoses hooked up in one day and be barbecuing in that same evening. It's not hard to do these things. I don't understand why it takes people years to, prove something like this.
Well, we'll be ready, and we're not gonna give up, even though we're sitting on our hands, right?
Waiting for the end to come, please.
So yeah, this has been a good show. You only hear it only
Beyond Flat Earth.